Good morning, members. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call the meeting to order. In the legislative year in 2025, as at the last meeting, we have approved 8 items involving a total amount of $53.3673 billion. There are 3 items for discussion on the agenda today. All are items awaiting discussion from the last meeting. These 3 items involve an amount of $1.8232 billion. If all these items are approved by members, the total number of items approved will stand at 11 with a sum of $55.195 billion, excluding the block allocation of $27.3407 billion of land acquisition and computerization program. The total amount of commitment of works stands at $27.8498 billion. Let me remind members, if there is any direct or indirect pecuniary interest in any of the items under discussion, please disclose the nature of the interest before you speak under Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedure. Members, please also take note of voting arrangements in relation to items with a direct pecuniary interest under Rule 84 of the ROP. This is 140KA construction of Annex block at Hong Kong Observatory headquarters, Tsui, paper number PWSC 2024-25, number 25. This paper proposes to upgrade 140KA to Cat A at an estimated cost of $634.5 million in money of the day prices. In the last PWSC meeting, that is the one on the 26th of March, we have already started the discussion. We will continue. I welcome government officials. You have already received the list of attendance. I'm going to dispense with the introduction. Two members have already asked questions. So far, 5 members indicated that they would like to speak. I will first ask Mr. Lim Chen-sing to start. 4 minutes. Thank you. This is the amount of $600 million. The project is to construct an Annex block. The reason is that there is insufficient space to store meteorological instruments. With the construction and the storage of these instruments, the forecast and prediction of meteorological conditions will be more precise and accurate. Of course, it's a good thing to strive to be more accurate in weather prediction. But if it is to the extent that the prediction of rainfall will be by a few millimeters, I am afraid that it may not be as good. In the last few years, there has been sudden change of weather. Last month, there was a time when the sky went dark in just half an hour. I wonder where the balance is between the degree of precision and the strategy you have in place. There is a point that's been mentioned, is in Tsui. It may be on a slope, but it's still a prime location. I wonder what the benefits is to use that place. Some people say that it's a centenary station and that it cannot be moved. Centennial observing stations. But there has been some centennial observing stations that carry the name but have been relocated to other places. You said that the annex will be of sufficient use for another 20 years. That time will pass very quickly. Shouldn't we make use of the opportunity of new development, say, for example, the northern metropolis, to identify a largest piece of land to relocate the observatory? Or is it the case that you plan to stay in Tsim Sha Tsui for another century? Ms. Wong, I will reply to the second and the third question. The director of the observatory will reply the parts in relation to the degree of precision as well as value for money. The project is proposed to tackle extreme weather. We would like our work to be more targeted and responsive. That's also mentioned in the policy address. We would also like to dovetail a national strategy studies in relation to collaboration within the region and with the mainland. We have mentioned about this centennial observing stations. The one in Hong Kong has a history of over 140 years. It's very rare. As we said, that there are only about 370 such stations in the world. There are 5 of these stations in the Greater Bay Area. The station was accredited by the World Meteorological Organization. Any relocation will have to be done under very vigorous procedures to ensure that all the conditions are made and that the accuracy will not be affected. It is impossible for us to meet those requirements if we relocate the facilities. The building at that location is a listed building. There are trees dotted around. Even if we release it for commercial use, there will be limited benefits. The use of the site as the observatory annex will bring benefits of its own. We do see that we do say that there is an urgency. So we ask members to support the construction of the annex. It is a declared monument. We want to meet the needs of further development. That is quite urgent. Director. Ms. Wong has already stated the objective of the project. It is to respond to extreme weather. What we have currently cannot meet the needs of the public. We have more frequent extreme weather conditions. We would like to do more and earlier. Say, for example, to warn or forecast the weather maybe at the day before. In the case of what happened a few weeks ago, we aim to send out an earlier warning to the public. Previously, we have obtained funding for the phased array radar network. We would like to get a similar we would like to get support for similar projects. Of course, we are moving towards the use of AI and the latest technology in weather prediction. That's why we need the Annex. If we don't have the space, we won't be able to conduct data collection and analysis. It will undermine our capability to respond to extreme weather. Mr. Lam mentioned about 20 years, that it will be of use sufficient for the coming 20 years. Can you elaborate on that, please? This is how we've planned it given what we know about technological advancement. And there will be new developments in the future that we don't know of. We will monitor land availability in the northern metropolis and other developments. In relation to our core services, that is, forecast and alerts, dissemination to the public. Well, you know about the mobile app. The core functions will stay in Tsui. Other services that are not essential will be housed elsewhere. We are identifying sites to relocate our computer systems there. We make use of government or commercial data centers for that purpose. For non-essential, non-core systems, they will be relocated to other places in Hong Kong. But the services provided by the Annex are core ones and essential ones. Can you elaborate on the 20-year point? Of course, there is always a lifespan on systems and facilities. You say that the Annex will house essential and core facilities. By what you said, you mean you also need space to store facilities elsewhere. You want to enhance your capability to make accurate predictions. Well, if this building is only good for 20 years, you have to explain us the reason why you still want to go there, Ms. Wong. The Hong Kong Observatory provides a service to respond to a sudden change of weather. So there is the Integrated Forecasting and Warning Center. It's related heavily to the core service of the observatory. That's why it needs to be there. There are some non-essential facilities. They are computer systems that are housed outside the observatory. We have procured supercomputers that are housed elsewhere. These are for plans in relation to the Greater Bay Area. They will be commissioned in 2026, these supercomputers. For non-essential, non-core service, we already have space to house these facilities and systems. Government officials have spent more time to reply to Mr. Lam's questions. I think it is in relation to cost effectiveness and location. And that's why I have given more time for government officials to reply and to clarify. I would like officials to provide a more focused answer so that we can get a better understanding. Next, Mr. Andrew Lam.
Thank you, Chair. I have two questions, mainly about the cost. In paragraph 30, you have mentioned about the construction unit price. It seemed to be rather expensive, and you explained by saying that you need to maintain the existing operation of the Hong Kong Observatory. Second, you also need to protect Red House. I tried to ask you two questions for further clarifications. At the moment, the foundational work, may I know the area? The total land is around 4,000 square meter, and the total construction area is around 6,000 square meter. How about the foundational work? How far it is from Red House, and how far it is from the normal operation of the Hong Kong Observatory? This is my first question. Considering that, during piling, what kind of piles are you going to use? If that is the case, then during the piling work period, how long is it going to take if you are going to deploy hydraulic piles? Second, as far as I understand, I think the piling will have impact to the surrounding areas. According to your paper, you said you have to safeguard the operation of the Hong Kong Observatory and Red House, and that's why the construction unit cost has gone up. And I want to understand to what extent will it affect the construction cost? I would like to defer it to ASD. Ms. Wai? Thank you, Chairman. First of all, regarding the piling works, we have considered to use embedded granite piles. As for the period, it will take around 6 months, and we will use H-beam piling. As for the upper covered part, we predict it will take around 4 months. As for the area of the piling, the construction sites is around 4,000 square meter, including the road. Excluding the road, it will be around 3,000 square meter. Therefore, the area of the piling works will be even smaller, just around 2,000 square meters. As for the construction cost, because of the limitations of the construction site, as well as its scope and nature, we have made the predictions. Since we need to install additional contingency building services, we also need to maintain a round-the-clock operation. Therefore, the construction cost is higher than other office buildings. I would like to supplement. At the moment, the Hong Kong Observatory has equipment to measure earthquake. Therefore, during the piling works, the methodologies that they adopt needs to prevent from causing impact to those equipments, and that's why the cost has gone up further. Mr. Andrew Lam. Thank you for all these specific answers from Undersecretary and ASD. When I compare the construction unit cost, it's not a lot more expensive than other projects, but the way that you present it has aroused my curiosity. Is it just a habitual way of writing, or is it the reality? I want to express my concerns. You need to spend 6 months for piling works. Even if it is complex, if you can control the time, it is actually not a long period of time. So the total period of work is 10 months. And the payments has covered a total of 7 years. And I'm really concerned why the contractors need to wait until 7 years later to retrieve all the cost. As for the covered part, I understand about the costly building of the building services. You have mentioned about some additional building services. I would consider it is essential. While You also mentioned about the 24-hour forecasting and warning operation. Is it only during the piling period? How much would it cost? Why is it adding on to your capital cost? As I mentioned, from my end, I don't think the total cost is high. Just for public interest, I want to know why has it gone up? Can you explain what is the additional amount of cost that is caused by the situation that you mentioned? Let me talk about the construction period because it will take a total of 4 years. Because after constructing the annex building, we have to move the red house, so it will take 3 years and 1 year respectively. For annex block, it will take 3 years, and the red house 1 year. The 24 hours forecasting and warning of earthquake has been in operation. So including the piling and covered works, we have to be able to safeguard the existing operation of the Hong Kong Observatory. In construction sites and other areas, we have put in some additional works. For example, we have to phase out, so the hoarding will be different and the pipelines will also need to adjust. And that's why the additional cost. Can you provide us with the additional numbers that were involved? For the construction sites work, that will be around additional $6 million because we need to phase out the works of hoarding, lighting, and entrance to the sites. As for the other equipment of the Hong Kong Observatory, we need to do some relining for both the Hong Kong Observatory and the Annex building, and it takes about $9 million. I will ask of a second round of question. Next, Chu Kwok Kang. Thank you, Chen. I do support the building of Annex block of Hong Kong Observatory. At the panel of environmental affairs, I concerns about the public information and education concourse. From the paper, I can see a floor plan. I trust that there will be huge improvement to the existing facilities. Will you consider to have the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area Satellite and Radar Operations Center, as well as the Calibration Laboratory and Electronics Workshop? For these two constructions, will you consider some transparent exterior design so that when the general public and the students walk around on the same floor, they can also appreciate what is going on inside? But of course, it cannot affect the operation of the Hong Kong Observatory. And the Secretary, I would like to defer it to Director, Mr. Chen. Thank you, Chair. As mentioned, it will be included. When they come visit the headquarters, they will look at the education concourse as well as the history room. They will also visit the news briefing center as well as the satellite and radar operations center. But it will certainly not affect our daily operation. Do you have any special design? Yeah, we will try our best to include some transparent exterior so that they don't need to go inside, and at the same time they can see the production and operation procedures. Next, Mr. Benson Look. Thank you, Chair. The Hong Kong Observatory has started the forecasting and warning of the meteorological data since 1884, and in year 2007 it has been recognized as the Centennial Observing Station, and it is also the only station in Hong Kong. Colleagues has expressed concerns about the leakage of the data transfer. To this kind of a Centennial Observing Station, actually the WMO, that is the World Meteorological Organization, holds very high standard because they require some continuous meteorological data as well as observing standards. I wonder if you could explain further. Well, during the construction period, do you have any measures in place to ensure that our building and equipment is still up to the standard of the requirement of the Centennial Observing Station? I also concerns about the tourism everywhere. Since the Hong Kong Observatory is titled the Centennial Observing Station, then perhaps sometimes there can be guided tours. I also wonder if you can work together with other bureaus. For example, like the space museums. Would you consider to collaborate so that there will be some package tourists, so that those who appreciate the meteorological information can appreciate all that you can offer in Tsui? And the Secretary. Regarding the Centennial Observing Station, I would like to defer it to Director. Your comments are well taken. After the completion of the Annex block in our history room and concourse, as well as the News Briefing Center and the GBA Satellite and Radio Operations Center, all these areas can be open for visitors and serve the purpose of public education. As for the collaboration with units like Science Museum, so that there will be synergies, all these comments will be taken into consideration. Mr. Chen, Director of Hong Kong Observatory. Regarding the requirement of Centennial Observing Station, we will have measures in place to make sure that the operation will not be interrupted. The construction site has quite a distance from our observing station. During the construction work, we will also work closely with the ASD so that the vehicles in and out and the piling works will not affect our equipment. Next, Shang Hailong, and then Mr. Vincent Chang. Mr. Shang. Thank you, Chairman. I do support the building of the Annex block of Hong Kong Observatory because there are a lot of innovative applications. There are a lot of new developments and opportunities between meteorological observation and AI. I concerns about the meteorological data and computing center. In the Annex block, you mentioned that we have to include the MDCC. And just now, Director said that we will store the data or the supercomputer in other places, such as the supercomputing center. What are the relationship between two? Because sometimes the two centers will have a different relationship. One is the main data and the other one is the application data. What are the relationship between it? Is it the main application center and we have storage elsewhere? Well, this is the Public Works Subcommittee. You have mentioned about the piling works, and mainly, normally, if you have a computation center, you need to make sure a UPS, that is continuous supply of electricity. For UPS, it can last for 10 hours at most. And the nearest gas station is at least 2 kilometers away in Ho Man Tin. If it needs to be refilled, if there is any traffic congestion in Tsim Sha Tsui, in case of accidents, how can you ensure the stability of our data? I have to first declare I am a consultant of some AI and data center businesses.
Mr. Chan, Director, I will answer the first part of the question. For the other parts, I will defer to my colleagues. Those parts are in relation to fuel storage for for the support of the supercomputer center? Well, the data center in the Annex supports core services. There are other data centers storing our facilities. They keep backup copies and act as backup systems. The one at the Annex will be a core one. If, for some reasons, the other data centers are unable to operate, then the Annex will continue to operate to support applications and other systems. The systems in the Annex will be the last line of defense. If there is a large-scale breakdown of our systems, we will be able to continue to operate because we can be self-sustained. Ms. Y from the ASD. The underground fuel storage of this project will continue a supply of power for about 12 hours. We have considered the possibility of an outage. For this Annex, there are 2 substations providing power supply. Should something happen, the other substation will continue to supply power. If both fail, then we will send a mobile generator to support the service at the observatory. Your answer is very clear, but, well, if the fuel storage can maintain a supply of 12 hours, then it must be sizable. Is the geological conditions suitable for such a sizable fuel tank? The data center carries a cost of about $20 million. That's according to the information in the paper. So with the UPS system, the fuel tank, and everything, is it sufficient for this amount? Under this amount? Ms. Y, anything to add? We have submitted information of the data center and the fuel tank to the Fire Services Department. We comply with all the fire safety requirements. My question was about $20.9 million. Is that sufficient? Well, there is the basic installations as well as the data center, and that comes to $20.9 million, data center infrastructure. We have provided for the cost of installations. Data center infrastructure refers to the ducts and the cable lines. We have worked with the Hong Kong Observatory to come up this amount, which is sufficient. Well, it should be UPS, fuel tank, data infrastructure forming one item. I think the ASD has replied to you that the cost estimate is sufficient. 20 million doesn't cover everything. It's just that the different items are under different items in the cost list. That's just a matter of the different categories in a breakdown. I gather from the reply of the ASD that the project cost is sufficient, so you don't need to worry. Next, Mr. Vincent Chang. I've been listening to the Observatory about the reasons for the construction. I support in principle the construction of the Annex. Some members pointed out that it's of a small size and is in Yaoqing Wang district. I would like to ask about transportation. The main entrance is via Nathan Road. Nathan Road traffic is already busy. And near the site is the Tsim Tsui Kaifeng Association, where there are lots of activities. So if you add construction vehicles during the construction, are you sure that you have made coordinations with, say, the traffic at Knoxford Terrace to ensure that there is no congestion? Last year, I visited the Hong Kong Observatory headquarters. Some members mentioned about tourism. I understand that it wasn't open to the public. In the future, would you consider opening it to the public? Ms. Wong? I'll ask the ASD to reply the parts in relation to traffic during construction. Regarding tourism, the public information and education concourse, the history room, and some other centers, if feasible, will be open to the public for visits. Currently, is it by appointment? In the future, it will be by appointment. Well, at the moment, there is also this appointment system, but given the site constraint, the scale is small. In the future, when the space is bigger, we will be able to cater for more requests. Let's hear from the ASD, Ms. Y. I will answer in relation to traffic volume during construction. Construction vehicles will use the entrance and exit along the Nathan Road, whereas vehicles for the Hong Kong Observatory will use their own road. We will make sure that there won't be construction, that there won't be any congestion. I see in the plan that the main entrance will be Nathan Road. So in relation to the Observatory Road, would it be used? Service vehicles of the observatory will use Observatory Road. So during the construction vehicles will use Nathan Road. Mr. Lo Wai Kwok. I strongly support the project. Members have asked many questions, detailed ones, even down to the fuel tank. I don't have any particular answer to raise, but I'd like to say this. I'm always very excited when it comes to visiting the observatory. We always hear about it when it comes to typhoons and other weather conditions when we were kids. Now we have extreme weather. The challenges are greater. I say that I have something to say because the site itself is rather limited and basic. I think it is a prime example of basic housing. It's very cramped. It looks spacious, but it's not. You have to squeeze through within the premises. There are many instruments there. Many systems. The observatory protects Hong Kong people. It gives us forecasts and warnings about changes in the weather. So they take care of us in our everyday lives, telling us to wear an extra layer or not. And they work to protect Hong Kong. I ask members not to ask many questions. Let this item go to the Finance Committee for endorsement as soon as possible. Yes, construction will cause vibrations and they may affect the instruments. Caution should be exercised. They will be fully prepared. I don't have any questions. I just want to show that I strongly support the project. Mr. Andrew Lam speaking for the next round, 3 minutes. I would like to follow up on the reply from the ASD. Well, for the construction site, it's about $9 million more expensive, adding other costs, so an additional cost of $9 million. In the paper, I find the unit cost of construction. My understanding of this term is that, well, the construction plus building services is the unit cost. Whether it's foundation work or other items, it will be another cost. So if you have to put in place a vibration-proof work or monitoring, it will be an additional item that is not counted towards the unit cost. Well, unless you tell me that the monitoring cost is already added to the site works, or if you say that the monitoring personnel have already been counted towards site works as well. In the past, I see an accurate description of items. I want to get more information because the unit cost is higher than what I have in mind. Is it because you need to conserve the declared monument, or there are other kinds of works? I just don't want the public to misunderstand you. This way? Yes, that is the comparison of the building services. To keep the site running round the clock, there is an additional cost to some parts of the work. Well, there is an addition to building services. There are cooling systems of the two substations. That is in relation to the backup building services cost. If members don't have any other questions, I put this item to the vote. Those in favor of having PWSC 2024-25 number 25, if you endorse it, please raise your hands. For those who are against, please raise your hands. No. I think that majority of members who have voted endorse the item. The item is endorsed. Regarding whether to have further discussions at the Finance Committee, in accordance with paragraph 41A of the Public Works Subcommittee procedure, I put the question to you. The subcommittee recommends further discussion of the proposal in PWSC 2024 to 25, number 25 in the Finance Committee. Let me remind members, if this question is passed, that means the subcommittee recommends further discussion at the Finance Committee. If the question is negative, that means the subcommittee does not recommend further discussions in the Finance Committee. Those who are in favor, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by majority of members who have voted. Are not in favor of the items being voted on. So the subcommittee does not recommend further discussion of the proposal in PWSC 24 to 25, number 25 in the Finance Committee. That's the end of this item. I thank government officials for attending.
The next agenda item, we would like to invite the administration into the meeting hall. Agenda item number 3, 374 EP, a 30-classroom primary school at Area 29, Kwu-tung North New Development Area. Reference paper PWSC 2024-25, number 26. It is proposed to upgrade 374 EP to Category A at an estimated cost of 594.4 million in the money of the day prices. On the 6th of December 2024, the administration has already consulted the panel of education affairs, and members support the administration to submit this proposal to this subcommittee for consideration. The highlight of this paper has already been emailed to members on the 24th of March 2025. Government members present include Dr. Jeff C. Chen Fai, Undersecretary for Education, Dr. Andrew Ngan Man Kit, Principal Assistant Secretary for Education, Mr. Kevin Sun Chi Hang, Project Director, ASD, as well as Mr. Kenneth Chen Kwan Ming, Senior Project Manager of ASD. Members who would like to raise question, please press the button. Here's the order. Ms. Chen Yut-ming, Lam Chen Sing, Chen Xiu-hong, Andrew Lam, Lee Chen Kang, Tang Fei, Chu Kwok Kang, Jovi Chan, and Lillian Kwok. 4 minutes question and answer. Ms. Chen Yut-ming, please. Thank you, Chair. Here are the issues that I would like to follow up, including the use of resources and the school population. According to the paper, this school belongs to NAT 80. It is the best primary school in this NAT. Normally, they can take 5 classes of P1 students, but now it is moving to Kwu-tung North, that is Chen Shik-wan Primary School. I know that normally it only have 4 classes of P1, and sometimes in case of shortage, there are only 3 classes. So it's shown that it is not the first choice among the parents, although in the future Kwu-tung North can have a total population of 130,000. Most of them are moving from other areas in Hong Kong. So in short period of time, the students of P1 will not have a surge in short period of time. I believe that most parents would like to sign up for the best school in School NAT 80. And that is, they would prefer to take trains and study at Shengshui instead. The new campus is very beautiful and is big. It is a 30-classroom primary school. As for the sponsoring body, it may not be able to fully utilize the space. How can you make sure that the resources will not go into waste? Will they be able to have enough student intake at NDA? Second, about the construction cost. I note that certain parts of the school is using the method of MIC. Mostly in the new development area, there will be deployment of new schools. In other areas of Kutong, there are similar arrangements. Since there are similar schools in place, I think the design will be similar. For this project, I had a feeling that the construction cost is more expensive. Through a central procurement, would you be able to further reduce the capital cost of this project? Do you have such targets in mind? Under Secretary, Dr. Jeff C. Thank you, Chair, and the two questions from Ms. Chen Yutming. First, about student intake. In Kutong North New Development Area, well, since it is a NDA in North Metropolis, it will be able to accommodate around 130,000 population. Starting from next year, the new development area will be completed in phase. From the new development area to the existing schools in downtown Shengshui, that is quite a distance. In order to provide convenience to the primary schools in the new development area, we believe that we need to build a 30-classroom primary school at Kutong North. As mentioned by Ms. Chen Yutming, well, the number of classes of this new school might have to adjust according to the actual situation, especially in the early stages, because the residents will move in phases as well. We will look into the number of school-age population, and we will also be in close touch with the housing department. We are dedicating this new campus for the reprovisioning of an existing school because we have confidence in the sponsoring body. At the moment, Chengxi One Primary School had a total of 23 classes. So, to a certain extent, it is still preferred by the parents. Your second question is about MIC. In this project, we see that there is sufficient space. Both the toilets and the classrooms can deploy MIC, reducing the piling and construction site work. By making use of MIC, we will be able to shorten our construction period by 1 month. Ms. Chen also concerns about the capital cost. If we compare MIC with the conventional construction cost, the average capital cost is similar. This school project in Kutong North is actually similar to the other school projects in Hong Kong in recent years in terms of capital cost. Next, Mr. Lam Chen Sing. The school is located in Kutong North New Development Area, Phase 1. Starting from 2026, residents will start moving in. There will be some ongoing constructions in surrounding areas for a number of years. Looking at Fanling Highway, there are also some road broadening works going on. After the completion of Phase 1 in Kutong, while the construction site of Phase 2 is actually in proximity to this school premise. If there are so many construction works going on nearby the school, there might be impact to the students. It will impact the air quality as well as the accessibility of the school. Have you evaluated such impact? Second, I also want to learn more about MIC. We know that by deploying MIC, the cost may not necessarily be reduced. According to the government, if we build public housing by MIC, the capital cost might go up by 10%. However, if the technology of MIC continue to advance, if the application is continue to expand, it will be cheaper in long run. If we are going to pay more by building the school through MIC, will you consider other methodologies instead? Will there be any standardized MIC methods? If there are some standardized method, then in the coming 8 to 10 years, we will just be following the same methods so that the overall capital cost will go down. If that is the case, then it will be worth considering in long run. That's why I would like to learn more about MIC. Finally, in the subheader is a consultation fee, which is 14.3 million. Our next agenda item is the school in Tung Chung. While in that project, the consultation fee is just 11 million. So it's 30% more. It is not a lot, but since both projects are building primary school, I just wonder why is it more expensive in Kutong North. Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the 3 questions from Mr. Lam. I would like to defer most questions to our colleagues from ASD. Regarding your first question, as we are building a school in the new development area, the existence of this school is to cater for the needs of the students living in this area. Therefore, it has to be completed earlier than other facilities. Next to Chenshu 1 Primary School, there will also be the integrated welfare building of Kutong North. As we construct other facilities in the proximity of the school, we will certainly take into consideration the needs of the students and to minimize the impact. I would like to defer the remaining 2 questions to our colleagues in ASD, including MIC question and the consultation fee. Mr. Sun Chi-hang. Thank you, Mr. Lam. Please turn on his microphone. Thank you, Mr. Lam. For MIC, we will consider the features of the design of that particular school. We will use MIC when there is a repetitive elements in the design. Actually, there is guidelines from the Development Bureau. If there are projects that is unfit for MIC, we will apply for exemptions. But this is the methodologies that we will use for this project. You also asked about the capital cost. We need to consider about the changes in the market regarding the consultation fees, as well as the changes in salary and the complexity of the project. And because of that, the consultancies will adopt different strategies and offer different advice. So this is the major variation in capital cost. It is mainly adjusted according to the complexity of the project. In what way is this project more complex? Well, the land is rather uneven, so we need to apply different methods in the school design. And it is quite an elongated piece of load. Therefore, the emergency vehicle access is also different in design. And that is why there are differences in the cost. Next, Mr. Chen Shou-hong.
Thank you. Area 29, Kutong North New Development Area. This project is to build a 30 classroom primary school. It was supported in a panel, and now it's here. We support it. In the PWSC, we look at technical aspects and the project cost. A number of members mentioned about problems with the MIC. Members have expressed similar concerns in the panel. I would like to get more information. The government's been promoting the use of MIC because the application of MIC in large-scale standardized projects, there are merits. Say, for example, school projects with 30 classrooms, toilets, or similar items. We expect cost effectiveness in the use of MIC. The government said that it will compress the work schedule by 1 month. And at the different stages, say design and tender stages, have you talked to the developer? Have you talked to them about the use of MIC? Or will there be synergy? Because there is another item, the Tung Chung Primary School. And have you considered using conventional methods? What's the merit or advantage of using MIC? If it is not cheaper, then you should not use it for the sake of it. For the project at Area 89, Tung Chung, there are 30 classrooms and toilets. Have you considered doing a tender exercise for the two projects because both of the projects use standardized classroom designs? If there is a scale of economy, it will drive down the cost further. My other question. The southern end of the site, there is a proposed secondary school. But I haven't heard about any discussions on this. So when will the proposed secondary school be commissioned? If the project is only initiated in 2 or 3 years, then we can't discuss it. But if it's earlier, then can we consider synergy? What about construction period? When you have students attending classes in a primary school at the same time when there is construction of a secondary school nearby is not ideal. Have you considered implementing the two projects at the same time to minimize the nuisance cost? Members, the 4 minutes is not just for you to put the question. It includes the answer as well. So please keep your answers succinct. Government officials should also keep their answers short as well. But still, I would like everyone to have a chance to speak. That's why I will not be too strict with time management. I will ask the ASD to supplement about MIC. The site is reserved for a secondary school. Currently, there is no such plan. Planning for a primary school is different from that of a secondary school. Primary school students are young. It's better to let them stay in the same district where they live. In the North District, there are 3 school catchments. In the North District, For secondary school, there is only one school catchment area or school net. Taking into account the additional population in Kutong North, there is sufficient places in secondary schools in the North District. That's why we don't have any plans to build a new secondary school. I now defer to the ASD. Mr. Xun. I thank the member for the question. The question was about comparison between conventional construction methods and MIC. For school projects, the cost is similar when it comes to MIC or conventional methods. The cost may improve with a wider use in the long run. In relation to the question of coordinating the two projects, we have talked to the contractors. Contractors have their own suppliers when it comes to the use of MIC. We built in flexibility in the tender documents to allow amendments. This is a way to improve the construction methods. We will discuss another project. It's in Tung Chung. There are special characteristics in that project. It will be technically difficult if we launch the two projects under the same tender exercise. But we will look at other ways that can compress the construction period and bring down cost if possible. Mr. Andrew Lam. I'll focus on Kutong. But it's unavoidable that I make a comparison between this one and the school in Tung Chung. The size, dimensions of the two projects are similar. The layouts are different. If the layouts are different, then the designs are different. I expect the government to ask questions. Is it necessary to use different layouts? Now back to Kutong. Building services. Now there is the comparison. Does it make a huge difference because of the layout? For Tung Chung is 92 million. Here is 124 million. Why is it so much higher? Furniture and equipment. Here is 4.1 million. There is no such item in Tung Chung. There was a project in Oi Kwan Road two years ago. The site is about 60% of this one. The furniture and equipment of the Oi Kwan Road project is $4.9 million. How come that the furniture and equipment is so much higher with a 60% size, and it was 2 years ago? This is about gatekeeping. I'll defer to the ASD for the cost relating to building services. I'll answer the part in relation to furniture and equipment. Under the current policy, for a school sponsor to run a new aided school, then the sponsor will have to show the cost of furniture and equipment. The primary school at Tung Chung is a new aided school. Xu Yan will shoulder the cost of furniture and equipment. For Chen Sik Wang is reprovisioning. The school sponsor has already shouldered the furniture and equipment cost when the school was first established. That's why this time round the government will shoulder this cost. The member mentioned about a project in Oi Kwan Road. It's different. That one is a special school. Furniture and equipment in a special school is different from a mainstream school. I don't have the exact figure with me. I think for this reason, you can't make a direct comparison with the Oi Kwan Road project and this one. Now I defer to the ASD. MIC. We don't blindly apply MIC. We use it when there is a high degree of repetition, say classrooms and toilets. We have to take into account the siting of the area when we come up with the layout. In this project, there is a social service integrated center. Student activities will generate noise. So we use the school hall as a barrier to keep the noise from the basketball court out from the social welfare center. So there are different considerations in the layout for different projects. The member mentioned about building services. This site is long and narrow, so the EVA is long as well. Fire hydrants, pumps, and water tanks. The number of these facilities is higher for this project for this reason. Mr. Lee Chenka, the government said that there is a similar cost between conventional methods and MIC. I asked for further information. I see that there are ball courts in the school. In nearby facilities, are there sports courts for the residents to use? We are legislators. We watch over every penny to make sure that it is well used. Well, in the St. James settlement facilities, there are schools, social services integrated centers, as well as churches. Would you consider making good use of the site by stacking different facilities vertically? Is it possible to build in childcare facilities in the same building? I would like to get more information. Well, there are residents, so you need childcare services. Someone mentioned about the siting of the lot. Well, on two sides there is a tall building, and the other side is also an integrated social service center. So there is only siting to a more open area, sharp north and sharp south. But as you see that the sun goes from the east to the west. So are you sure that there will be sufficient natural lighting? I'll defer to the ASD in relation to the facade or siting of the lot. Mr. Lee asked if there are suitable sites for, say, sports events or physical activities. There are such facilities in the northern metropolis. There are indoor-outdoor facilities in the northern district for schools to use. Sometimes sports days take place in a different district. By using other facilities, there are suitable venues for the school to consider. Your second question is about single-site multiple use, whether there are community facilities, childcare services that can be sited at the same location. We need to consider first and foremost the safety of students. For security reasons, for reasons to ensure sufficient space, we have to consider the school first. They need to use the space for their sports grounds or venues. If we put in community facilities in the same site, then we need to provide different escalators, ingress, egress, so that students can learn in a safe environment. Building separate facilities requires additional space. This will be done at the expense of space for students. And if we put in other facilities, we also have to consider traffic and accessibility. We need to carefully consider that. There are challenges that needs to be overcome. I'll defer to the ASD for the other parts.
Mr. Kevin Su from ASD. Well, as for the layout and siting, there are a number of considerations, including the view and daylight. For this particular site, there is a special considerations because this is nearby Hongqi Road. It is a major asset in the future. Therefore, we have moved the campus backwards so that during school days, the students will not be interfered by the potential noise. In the course of design, we had a total of 11 meetings with the school sponsors. We also conducted different workshops to consider different proposals in order to best fit their future needs. Chairman, he did not respond to my questions regarding daylight. Daylight is one of our considerations. There is no daylight, so it is out of your consideration. That is not the case. In the morning, there will be daylight from the east, but it will be blocked out. However, at 10 or 11 a.m., the sun will rise at a higher altitude, and towards the west, it will be only 6 to 7 story high, and the Social Services Integrated Center is only of 10 stories, so it will not have great impact towards daylight. While there will be no daylight on the school when the sun is set. I think we understand we have a lot of buildings in Hong Kong. Relatively speaking, we always try our best to extend daylight, but people will have different priorities in this regard. I believe that ASD has already considered all the factors mentioned, including the sightings, etc. And that is the final proposal that they have put out after all considerations. Next, Mr. Tang Fei. Thank you, Chair. I have two questions. In paragraph 13, you have mentioned about the use of MIC, which I agree, because it will bring us cost effectiveness. I have some questions about the overall design of the school premise. Is it pre-millennial or post-millennial? After year 2004, many school premises, including those reprovisioning primary schools in Kai Tak, will use the design of post-millennium design. So it will have better ventilation and daylight, noise, etc. So I'm concerned about the overall design. Well, unless it is a private school, Otherwise, there are only 3 models of the old model, millennial design or post-millennial design. So for a Chenxi 1 primary school, what kind of design style are you adopting? In paragraph 16, you mentioned about the cost of F&E, but every year that will be 61.7 million Hong Kong dollars. What exactly are they? Why is it so expensive? Thank you, Chair. And the Secretary. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Tang. Regarding the design of the school premise, the facilities of this school is the same of the standardized 30 classroom primary school. There are some special features on this new school premise. In order to take care of the learning needs of the senior primary and junior primary students, there are 2 campuses on the same premise. The senior primary students and the junior primary students will take up 1 campus respectively. For a better learning atmosphere, at 2 campuses you will see different layouts and designs in order to facilitate the learning needs of students at different stages. To offer flexibility, they can also allow for some connected rooms, including the guided activities room. If necessary, it can be connected to the assembly hall so that the space and seats can be increased. Since it is an open layout design, it can serve different purpose. Mr. Tang also asked about F&E. I would like to defer to ASD, Mr. Kevin Sun. Regarding the F&E cost, well, actually, we're following the guidelines of the Development Bureau. This is a fixed price. Yeah, you were referring to the $4 million. How about the recurrent expenditure of 61 million? It includes the maintenance, including construction works and some electrical and mechanical electrical works. Well, I think there needs to be some supplementary documents. If we are to apply for maintenance, it will be very difficult to apply for even several millions. Please provide some specifications for the 61 million Hong Kong dollars. Well, because for the electrical bills, I think the most expensive items will be air conditioning. Your question is well taken. And the Secretary, can you supplement to that? Thank you, Chair and Mr. Tang. The recurrent expenditure refer to the recurrent operation expenditure of the school because the construction work has completed by then. In 2022 and 2024, Chenxi 1 Primary School has around 44 million Hong Kong dollars per year because it is having 23 classes in total. The new school premise has more classrooms. The area is also increased. Based on the school year 23-24, the average recurrent expenditure of a 30 classroom primary school is around 61.7 million Hong Kong dollars. Therefore, we estimate that if all 30 classrooms are being deployed, the recurrent expenditure of this school will be 61.7 million Hong Kong dollars. Can you provide some specifications and to explain to us in different categories? As I can remember, F&E takes out around 4 million. So recurrent expenditure does not refer to maintenance. We should not confuse different items. Supplementary information is required. Perhaps Under Secretary and Mr. Kevin Sun from ASD can provide for the analysis required by Mr. Lee Chen-Ke. That is the comparison in capital cost between MIC and the conventional construction method. It helps us understand the considerations of the government when selecting MIC or conventional construction method. Well, perhaps there will be some cost efficiencies or compression in time. Even if it is not reducing the capital cost, there might also be other benefits. Please provide supplementary information. Next, Mr. Chu Kwok-kang. Thank you. I am the chairman of the School Principals Association of the Northern District, and I support this project for Chen Shi Wan Primary School. According to our experience in the Northern District, if the population estimation is inaccurate, after the completion of a new school premise, if they are taking up the full capacity, other primary schools may have reduction in classes. At the beginning of this school completion, will there be similar arrangements to Queen Hill? That is, for the first 2 years, they will only take in students from their own area. You know, Chen Shi Wan Primary School has been in discussion together with another school, that is Pui Ling School. But Pui Ling School is not mentioned here. Are there any reasons behind? Is there a delay in progress? After the reprovisioning of this school, how will you take care of the original school premise? Because there are some other primary school in the same area that is using old campuses. Will you release the original area of Chen Shi Wan Primary School for other older and weaker schools to use? Thank you. Thank you for your question and your support. As Chen Shi Wan Primary School is completed, the number of classes depends on the actual situation. It mainly depends on the school age population within the school net. If it needs not to be operated in full capacity, we will not be taking 5 classes of P1 students immediately. At the moment, Chen Shi Wan Primary School is having a maximum of 24 classes in total. I hope that you will understand, because there are 2 stages of a school allocation. In the first round, it is a centralized allocation, and it will be quite difficult for us to restrict students to select any particular school according to their address, because they can make their own choices. About the school capacity, I understand your concerns, and we will be in close contact with the housing department. Upon the completion of the new school premises, we will determine of the total number of classes according to the residents moving in. As for Pui Ling School in Area 17, they also have a 30-classroom primary school reprovisioning project. We are still at the stage of inviting tender and review. In Q2 this year, this process will be completed. Hopefully, we will be able to submit this project to a Public Works Subcommittee for review. Regarding your last question about the vacant premise of Chen Shi Wan Primary School, well, according to the existing mechanism, we will review its use in the future. As you are aware, the space is limited. I have visited the existing campus of Chen Shi Wan Primary School. They lack a lot of special rooms. They have already maximized the use of campus space, but it still poses a lot of difficulties. Is it possible for us to reprovision other school to be vacant premises? We need to evaluate it in the future. Many members expressed their concerns. Well, it is taking us up to 600 million Hong Kong dollars. Members' concerns about the use of this premise. I hope that the Education Bureau can take note, because you are only talking about the populations. But of course, you have to plan according to the Hong Kong planning standards and guidelines. I think we are concerned because we hope that this is some money well spent. You need to be more confident about your future student intake. Otherwise, the budget will be waste. And it might not be a school that is preferred by the parents and students. Well, it involves policy level considerations. And many members have expressed their concerns because it is some public money that is spent after all. Chairman, I do understand when the school first started, maybe not all residents have moved in that area. Therefore, it may not be operating in full capacity at the moment. In long run, we truly believe that they are able to maximize this space, because this primary school is the first primary school in Northern Metropolis. We have confidence in the demand.
Next, Mr. Jovi Chan. I want to ask about cost. What I'd like to know is there any way to further standardize the project to drive down cost? Well, can there be the same tender exercise and planning with the school in Tung Chung? This project carries a cost of $594.4 million. I see that for similar primary schools, the cost is usually 400 million or so. So if the use of MIC cannot bring down cost, then why do you still use it when we have a budget deficit? I know that the use of MIC brings down costs significantly in lift projects. I don't understand how come that is not necessarily cheaper. It's a mystery to me. How come that is a lot cheaper in lift projects? I've done some background check. Well, the cheapest of a project is 300 million. Some are 400 million, but this one is 600 million. In Chun Wan West, Fulton, Anderson, the project cost is about 300 million. Lin Cheung Road, Kai Tak are about 450 million and 430 million. They all have a site area of about 6,000 square meters. How come this is more expensive? I heard that is because of a longer construction period and an elongated site, but it doesn't explain why it's more expensive. Under Secretary. Compared to other recent projects, the project cost per square meter is similar. There is an integrated social service center next door. We have chosen a pressed-in piling method that is more environmentally friendly. The bedrock is quite deep. That's why we have to put the piles deeper, bringing up the price, bringing up the cost. There is a great difference of 4 meters. So there is one floor of basement, a semi-basement, so we need to excavate. That explains the higher cost. We also need more time for site formation and relevant work. So the construction period is 6 months longer than other projects. The resident staff cost will be higher as a result. The member asked about MIC. Repetitive work such as classrooms and toilets will benefit from MIC. But there are some facilities that are not representative, say the school hall and the library. There are 30 classrooms. It will be 6 to 7 stories high. We will closely liaise with the Development Bureau and the ASD to make sure that MIC is used in a way to compress construction time and cost. Compared to a conventional method, MIC can shorten the construction period by about 1 month. The average construction cost is more or less the same between the two. The Undersecretary has explained about the project cost. It has a cost of 600. Compared to other projects, there is a difference of about 200 million. Can you give us further information to explain? Say you give us the cost of the piling work, the additional cost as a result of the different layout. Please give us further information. Members may wonder why the projects are getting more and more expensive. It's a jump from 400 million to 600 million. We will supply further information after the meeting. Mr. Law, anything to add? Ms. Chan and some other members have expressed concerns about the construction cost of MIC, so I'd like to say something. The Development Bureau has been advocating the use of MIC for a few years. We have engaged a university to conduct a research. MIC can drive down cost about 10%, but it is not reflected in some projects. Our preliminary analysis suggests that there are site constraints in specific projects. Say the foundation. Maybe the use of conventional methods will not keep costs down. And there is also the tender price. A reason why that the 10% reduction is not reflected in the tender price is that MIC is a new method to them. After all, it's only been used for about several years. So the risk is calculated and incorporated in the tender price. We will wait for the sector to get more confident about the MIC so that they don't have to include risk in their tender price. But when it comes to time saving, quality, environmental impact, MIC is superior. The Undersecretary undertakes to give us more information. We expect the MIC to bring down costs. Well, there is no need to repeat other merits of MIC. We'll wait for the further information from the Education Bureau and the Development Bureau. Next, Ms. Lillian Kwok. Thank you. Easy question about project cost. Other members have asked this. In 2022-23, Sham Shui Po, Kai Tak, and Anderson Road, I have worked out some figures. I identified an issue. Foundation is more expensive compared to the Tung Chung project by $50 million. Compared to Anderson Road, with about 11 million, is more expensive by about 70 million. So how come it's so much more expensive? There is also drainage service. Is an additional $10 million. There is also a basement there. Well, in Kutong North, there is the basement work, which is absent in other projects. Consultants' fees. There is a significant increase in contract administration. An increase by 100% compared to the Sham Shui Po project. Can you give me an explanation? I want to know where the additional $100 million come from. We expect MICs to shorten time. How come it fails to do so in this project? How can we save time? The Housing Authority is able to tell us why time is saved. Can you do the same here? Undersecretary. Members ask about breakdown of foundation, basement, drainage. They also mention about Area 37 Lin Chung Road, which is also a primary school. As at the prices of September 2024, the unit cost is about $25,000 per square meter. Using the same price level for the Lin Chung Road project, the unit cost is about $25,000. That's why we say that the unit cost is comparable and reasonable. You need to make adjustments when you look at a project with prices 2 years ago. There have been changes in wages. If you take into account the adjustments, then you will know that the unit cost is similar. I've already explained about the project here. There is a basement that is half submerged. So there is a basement work, underground work required. That is one of the reasons why this project is different. Members ask further questions about MIC or other construction methods. We will supply information after the meeting. Thank you. The unit cost is similar, but members are concerned about the total cost. You have to supply us with the information. Members often refer to project cost of past projects. We'll wait for the supplementary information. The administration explained that there is a saving in time by about 1 month. Members expect it to be more. Can we hear from the ASD? Mr. Tsui? MIC saves time, but it is not applied to every aspect in the school. It's applied only in repetitive aspects. We've also talked about the site constraint, which prolongs the construction time. The excavation of the underground space for the basement is also one reason.
This is the end of the first round of questions. Second round, Mr. Chen Shu-hong, 3 minutes. Thank you, Chair. I appreciate your summary. Basically, you have summarized the common concerns of members. The administration has pledged to provide further information. In the past, it only cost us 400 million to build the school, and now it costs us 600 million. We understand that there will be differences because each project is unique, and we still appreciate further information. Thank you for your summary, Chair. Just now, Mr. Lo Kok-kun has explained to us about the existing situation. Well, through university research, MIC could save us cost by 10%. But we should not use MIC for its sake. Just now, the administration has explained the limitations of the site. So adjustments are required. If you are in charge of the control, Mr. Lo, well, at this moment, we are waiting for the accumulation of experiences, and we are also waiting for the industry to accept MIC. So for the current and future project, shall we invite them to give tender for both MIC and conventional construction method? Then as you receive the tender, you will be able to compare apple to apple. Do you have such plans? Second, I also proposed about centralized procurement. It is the best chance ever. You have 2 school projects, one in Kutung and one in Tung Chung. Perhaps you can just invite those potential tender to submit tender in one go. From 30 classroom to 60 classroom, and the number of toilets will also be doubled. And that is how you can make best use of MIC. It ensures site safety and efficiency. Is that something you would consider? One last question. Just now, Mr. Andrew Lam has asked a question. When I listen to the response of the administration, I can't really understand. Regarding building services, one is 120 million and the other is about 90 million. That is a difference of around 30 million. Well, it is because of the fire services equipment. It still can't explain the huge differences. Chairman, can we invite them to provide detailed analysis after the meeting so that we can understand the differences of 30 million Hong Kong dollars? Under Secretary. Yes, Chairman. I appreciate the question of Mr. Chen about the differences of building services. In Kutung North, the building services charges are higher than ordinary projects. As Kevin Sun has mentioned, we need to provide more in terms of fire services, including the water tank, water pump, and hydrant pump. We also have a lower ground basement that will need to put in some additional ventilation facilities. We can provide further information after the meetings. Yes, please provide additional information. Mr. Law, anything you would like to add? Thank you, Chairman. In early years, well, actually, in particular projects, we have invited tender for both conventional construction methods and MIC. As I remember, MIC is cheaper. It is also faster. And that's why back then we have decided to promote MIC in all public works projects. Allow me to supplement. Last year we have conducted a review. I understand that members are concerned if we are promoting MIC for its sake. That is not the case. During the review last year, we have looked into all the MIC under public works project. We will continue to promote MIC whenever appropriate and make adjustment when MIC is not the best fit. Surely, at the moment, we are able to reach our target of saving costs by 10%, but it is by no means more expensive. It also has better performance. That's why we continue to promote MIC. That's the reasons. That's all I would like to supplement. In terms of our controls, I think we will concerns about the comparisons between the use of MIC and conventional construction methods. For school premises, whenever possible, I think you would use MIC. Is that the case? Last year, we have established an MIC task force. Members of different departments and bureaus, if they encounter any difficulties, they will come to our office and have discussion. We see some very good response. As members has mentioned, layout and early designs are both important because the design of MIC is quite different from conventional constructions. You need to put more considerations in the early design. If you do not design well, the effect of MIC may not be that obvious. That's why our team has offered a lot of advice to those in need. Members also asked why is this project more expensive than previous school projects? And these are part of the reasons. We want to continue support the use of MIC in order to reduce costs. This is our objective. Thank you. If there is no further questions from the members, I would like to submit it for voting. Those who are in favor of PWSC 2024-25 document 26, please put up your hand. Those who are against this project, please show your hand. I believe the majority of the members who vote in favor for this project. Shall the Finance Committee further discuss this project? According to the meeting procedures 41A of Public Works Subcommittee, I would like to put this to vote. The subcommittee suggests the Financial Committee to further discuss PWSC 2024-25 document 26 proposal. Please be reminded, if this item is being passed, it indicates that this subcommittee advised the Financial Committee to further discuss this document. If it is being negated, this subcommittee do not advise the Financial Committee to further discuss this document. Those who are in favor, please put up your hands. Those who are against, please put up your hand. I believe that the majority of the voting members vote against this item. This item is being negated. In other words, the subcommittee do not advise the Financial Committee to further discuss PWSC 2024-25 document 26. This is the end of the discussion of this item. Thank you for your attendance. Members have asked for additional information. Please submit as early as possible. We have been in meeting for almost 2 hours, and I would like to take a short break of 5 minutes. we will resume the meeting by 11 a.m. Thank you.